Hi guys, what's going on? I'm EvoLoz, and today we are back with another episode of Total War Arena. So, this time we are going to be looking at the Tier 6 Equites. These are the Roman Tier 6 Spear Cavalry. One up from the Celeres, so this is only sort of the second Roman Cavalry unit on the tech tree. And so far I have been enjoying them, I'm pretty impressed. They are pretty much, the best way of summing up is pretty much they are a direct descendant of the Tier 5. Those Celeres, if you can remember, are sort of a heavily armoured but quite slow shock cavalry. We've got good armour. Once they get involved in a fight, they can really hold their own, but they aren't very fast. And the same is exactly true of the Equites. Now, I've not got these quite fully upgraded yet. I've finished off I've got the spears, which obviously gives quite an increase to the attack, which is obviously important, and the shield, because that gives quite an increase to defence and particularly missile block. And particularly when you sort of fight tier 5s and 6s, you see a lot of archers, particularly now they have access to barrage, so I find that one quite useful. Yes, and so but once they have a sort of medium charge, a worse charge than the Greek cavalry, but a sort of superior charge probably than the barbarian, or similar charge to the barbarian cavalry. But once they actually get stuck into a fight, that's when they really begin to excel. They can really hold their own, they've got really good attack and solid defence statistics, if we have a quick look at the stats. I mean, base defense of 655 with an aggression of 522 is all pretty good, and makes them, you know, they really do stand well in battle. Obviously, speed-wise, they are quite a bit slower. Mobility base is 7.1, and there is no speed increase consumable. You know, if we compare this, and obviously Scipio has no momentum buff like Arminius, so where the barbarians can end up with a speed of travelling around at sort of 10, 11, 12 meters a second. These guys are sort of 7.1. There was a couple of upgrades, equipment-wise, which I haven't got yet, which sort of equates to a 5% speed increase, but it's still quite minimal compared to what the barbarians get. So there's not that much choice in terms of consumables for the Roman cavalry. There's only 4 options, and it's a bit disappointing compared to the sort of the 7 or 8 options that the barbarian cavalry get. And they basically all do similar things. It's basically either increased charge, increased attack, or increased defense. I've basically gone for increased armor, increased attack, and increased charge. You sort of get a bit of everything with war steeds, which is sort of why I picked them. And I'm running that across all the units. Particularly in the closed beta, there's absolutely no reason to not be using consumables every time. You make more than enough money, so just always use them. They lost the attack ability that you got on the Celeres, and instead you've got a morale boost, which works on both yourselves and your allies. So, not staggeringly useful, but it does have its moments when you get rear flanks and something like that. It can be enough just to prop you up and keep you going. So, without further ado, let's hop into a battle, and let's see how we get on with these guys. So, we're loading into the Battle of the Rubicon. I'm not quite top tier, there's one tier 7 on our team, but things look pretty decent. There's quite a lot of cavalry, 4 other units of cavalry in the game. Which makes me a bit nervous, but only 1 unit of archers, and some javelin men, so 2 ranged units. We have some artillery, so it's likely that the enemy team does as well. Maybe we can find that, but I think the main initial thing to watch out for is going to be the enemy cavalry. It's a bit of a risky position for that javelin to start in, considering he's got no other infantry support other than cavalry, so he could rapidly find himself in trouble. We'll head over to the left then, see what we can see. I normally enjoy starting most games on the Rubicon map over in the grain fields. On either side, that's my sort of favourite starting point. And then we've got some tier 5 archers moving up to their classic starting point. Got some mounted warband, I assume. Yep, mounted warband moving across there. And some enemy spear swords, warriors. Oh, okay. So our companion cavalry almost looking like they're wanting to get involved in a bit of a fight there. And there's also some archers there. It looks like this could be a reasonable one to force a fight with. They've got these mounted warbands are a threat, and obviously as are these warriors, but they're pretty isolated, to be honest. I mean, the javelin men are a threat if they're going to be left on their own. So that's something that's going to have to be dealt with. But I would be inclined to go for these mounted warband. We're going to charge. We really need our friendly cavalry to go for the javelins, which they are doing, which is great. So we're going to quickly activate a war cry. Try and get one of them to rat, which it has. So exactly what they want. As our companion cavalry charge in, we're going to focus our attention on the routing unit. We want... I don't know why these cavalry have left these javelins left alive, but we've got some friendly javelins coming in. I'm about to be slammed into by a unit of warriors. I'm not too worried about the warriors. I think we're going to oath this fight and stick with it. I should have activated Warcry before I did that, but I think we could hold this one. We've got enough cavalry around here, and I see no other immediate threats. Or I didn't when we had the capture point. We are taking some losses here, because we had a mount kick there, which did quite a lot of damage to us. I don't know why these other units aren't getting back involved. You know, these Gungnir chargers could easily take into the back of these warriors, which they are now looking to do. And we've got the companion cavalry back in the fight as well. So we took quite a lot of losses, but we are going to wipe out 2 sort of higher tier units. So I think it's worth it. We'll keep applying the pressure. How much would sort of about 50% across the board on our units. And then it's just the warriors left. Okay, so we've got a fair bit of aggression in there. And we've basically eliminated 2 whole players there from the game for none of our players being lost. So I think that's a solid start. Tip the balance slightly in our favour. Just kill these routing warriors. And then wait for us to come out of oath mode. Obviously we can't move while one of the units is in oath mode. Or we can only move very slowly. There we go, so we're all out. So let's have a look what else we've got to deal with. We've got 2 pikes coming across there, as well as a unit of archers. So let's immediately move up to the flag point to get some observation. Make sure there's nothing else, which there isn't. But these pikemen are a threat and very, very hard to deal with. We could make use of the long grass to try and flank round the archers, but they're so close to the pikes, I don't think there's going to be anything we're going to be able to do about that. So I think for now, we're going to leave those guys alone. It looks like our team is pushing in on their base, so let's see if we can get round and do something here. We're obviously going to venture into archer range here, which is an error, particularly if they're going to end up using barrage, as they may do. Do we try and cut across this little bit of river? No, they're pushing that way, so we can do. So painfully slow, these Roman cavalry, compared to the barbarians, which is obviously something I really do miss. I have slightly abandoned those javelins, which I do feel a little bit guilty about. But ultimately, I think it's the right decision in this case, because we're now pressing their base quite effectively. These archers, with luck, are going to be vulnerable and on their own. Now this is when, you know, I wish these guys were just quicker. They're so bloody slow. The Principes, I'm not too worried about the Principes anyway. They can come and engage me if they like. I don't mind. We should get a nice charge in, and we'll activate the charge. It's going to clip them quite nicely, I think. Which it did. Don't run into the rocks. Activate a war cry. Route what we've got here. And then let's get moving again. It took the Principes a long time to react, so they're not a threat to me. We're going to take obviously some archer fire. We'll try and lose them in the long sort of vineyards. And then we're back out of range of the archers. Once we've got our charge back, to be honest, I'll probably just charge these Principes if they're not going to be paying attention. Or the archers, again, what we're left of them. Activate the charge, a little early. Watch out for the building, stop the charge. Obviously you've got to be careful to not actually run into the building, because obviously you lose units if you charge into solid objects. So you can end up taking quite a few casualties. Oh, there's quite a few people come back to defend their base now. Let's be a bit careful here. We'll pull back into the hillside. Now I could try and... Oh, the cavalry there is just going straight for the archers, the companion cavalry. Well, it didn't get a charge into them, I don't think. I think it just walked into the back of them, so not quite so effective. There's some Gungnir chargers in the centre, and then a large amount of Principes towards the back. Looks like there's a unit of archers trying to run away there, which just aren't really paying attention to me. So we'll have that as a charge. Let's quickly get a war cry off. Which we'll do, we should get them to rout, and hopefully just kills what's left of them. Which we have done. Oops, bit of friendly artillery coming in. Careful of that. Pull back. Try and reform, and then we'll probably engage the back of these Principes. just wait for our charge to cool down and we come back. Since those Principes are largely in a fight, we should be able to get a charge in and be relatively effective. We may get them to rout, I wouldn't like to say. Oh, they're breaking off. Okay, hit the charge nice and early, get plenty of speed up before we hit. Okay, that was a relatively effective hit, sort of about. Let's get the war cry off, and then I'm going to immediately enter Oath of Perseverance mode. Hopefully these guys are going to rout, which is what I want, which they have done. So let's get a bit of focus on them, try to rack up some damage on them. Obviously entering Oath of Perseverance mode makes my unit a lot stronger. We're obviously struggling because we're fighting Romans, which are stronger units, but we're winning this fight. And by and large, with our friendly units engaged, we should win this. They might be trying to get out of this fight anyway. Let's just sort of see what damage we can get up on them. That's been a fairly good game. We got plenty of aggression damage. Wow, a lot of aggression damage. But we did take out some high units of archers, and we got stuck in with those enemies at the beginning. We are getting a bit of base cap, but we have got some friendly companion cavalry there, who have just successfully charged those legion cavalry. And hopefully we've got friendly units in there, which we have, and there's no enemies immediately around that are going to be able to decap us, so I think we should be fine. On to these the last few Principes now. This is the benefit really of the Equites compared to the Barbarian Cavalry. You can really hold their own in fights like this. The Barbarian Cavalry would have just been absolutely decimated by these Roman infantry, but the Equites can hold them quite well. They're not necessarily a winning fight, but with the friendly support and the fact it's sort of the end of the game, they actually do quite a lot of damage to them, considering, really. Oh, they've been rear flanked now. That's it. They're completely routed. They're completely dead. So we've got quite a bit of damage in on them. So 4,000 damage overall. Pretty good game. Hopefully that gives you sort of a bit of an idea of the benefits of the Equites. Very similar to the Celeres, really. It's that sort of ability to hold their own in fights that makes me like them. And I think that's why a lot of people play the Roman Cavalry. Although I do greatly miss the mobility they have compared to the Barbarian Cavalry. I really wish that they had a consumable that gave increased movement speed, which is obviously one. You get plenty of those types of consumables for the Barbarian Cavalry, but it's not one that you can have for the Roman Cavalry. And with them only having 4 consumables available, hopefully that's something they'll add in the future. One in a consumable that will give plus 5% movement speed, something like that. Just that little bit faster would make them so much more enjoyable for me. Yes, so that was a good game all in all. Pretty pleased with that. 4,000 unit experience. I should soon be able to get the next level of armour. So I hope you enjoyed this video, sort of give you a little bit of an idea of how the Roman Cavalry plays out, the tier 6. I shall hopefully soon be pressing on through to the Legion Cavalry at tier 7, and we'll have a look at them, because I think, are they Spear Cavalry as well? Yes, they are, so they're going to play very similarly, although they do have slightly different abilities, and they've obviously got better stats. So, thanks for watching, guys. If you've enjoyed this video, please give it a like in the comments. Come on, give it a like in the comments if you like, but like the video and comment. And even subscribe would be even better. We've just passed over 100 subs, which is absolutely awesome. So, yes, let's keep the channel growing. Thanks, guys, and I shall see you in the next video.